Exatamente. Temos que fazer isso. Temos que ir mais cedo. Mais cedo. Se alguém tiver alguma coisa que se não, então leva. Esperam que vá em casa. Óculos vou ter, para o snorkeling não sei. Óculos, só óculos aqui. Sim, só óculos aqui, que eu tenho tudo. Não.
A minha ideia é que, ou seja, aquele dashboard do nós, que nós dávamos os códigos para alterar, temos códigos errados.
Su Catania, non contento di dire, tutte le categorie interessate.
Buongiorno.
Come lei, tutti quelli che fa.
Uma fotografia um bocado esquisita, Oscar. A Maria Eugênia, sem saber, participou no evento. Ela perguntava como é que ia.
Essa é a Maria Eugênia.
Não, 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 não. É diretora do Centro de Formação dos Professores.
E era aqui em Olhão que ela estava, não era? Não? Eu tinha a ideia. Ai não, a outra que está com ela que veio da escola de Olhão, não é?
Mas não sei se está a falar. E 4 participantes, cada vez é menos.
E Manuel faz comigo para o lugar.
Obrigado.
Hi, good morning, everyone. This image let us dream to be at the beach.
Hi, Pina. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, these are hello, Cristina Veiga, Pires. How are you? Yes, it is today. It will be a good day to go to the beach.
Yes.
But we have to work. So we are still in the wake up, in the Bom Dia from Portugal. Our DJ Oscar Ribeiro is putting some videos and some
Oscar,
music. DJ Oscar.
But here in Italy, they are thinking about let us come to school also in the summer this year to recover what they suppose that we haven't done. Okay?
Yeah.
So they are scheduling activity for July.
Well, we already delayed the school year, and so the exams will be later. Will be in July, so that will be enough. But we lost or we lose a lot doing this kind of teaching, online teaching.
In the case of our school, we haven't lost neither a minute. So why? We are asking why this sufferance.
That's because teaching at distance is not it's not easy, and not students. Well, from our experience, it's that for Portuguese students, it's not good. The results are not good.
Okay.
Εγώ κάπου έχω μπει και κάτι βλέπω.
Tonya, Moot.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Do you remember we have been there? Wonderful days.
Oh, okay. Good morning. Good morning. So let's start 9 o'clock for Portugal, 10 a.m. in Central Europe, or 11 o'clock in Latvia, Bulgaria, and Greece. Hello, here we are in the fourth day of our online event. Good morning to everyone, to our partners. Good morning to our speakers that are already in. So today, yeah, after a nice weekend, at least for us, it was shiny all the time. It seems almost summer, and probably a lot of students went to the beach, and so, but they are here today to help us and to be with all their colleagues to participate in this fourth day. So fourth day also fourth mobility. In our project, we went to Almeria, Vila de Vicar, in November 2019. So a lot of time. And from there, we took, or we received a present from our colleagues. It was this symbol that we are going to use today, because the symbol is Indalo. It's a magical symbol found in the cave of Los Letreros in Sierra de Maria de los Velhos Natural Park. So it seems that it's a magical symbol. It brings us good luck. So that is what we need every day, and we are going to use it. Thank you, colleagues from Spain.
Thank you.
Today the program is. Let me share with you. Let me share with you in minutes, in seconds. Dear Oscar, our DJ, can I? Yep. Okay. Yes. Okay. So today our program is filled with good morning. We already have done it. So we will have lectures with Cristina Veiga Pires, a director from a science center here in Algarve, and also with Nicolas Blanc from the Siena, an ONG that will also, first the lecture will be about the climate change and impact in the Algarve coastline, and then with some activities, since that it's from a science center, and then Nicolas Blanc will talk about about the biodiversity extinction in marine ecosystems in general. And then we will make a break, and then we come with a workshop organized by students, Carolina Ribeiro, Bruno Guiomar, João Brandão, and Alexandre Viegas, that I forgot to put the name here. Sorry, Alexandre. But thank you to all these students that prepared this workshop, like in chemical class, like if you were here, and we will share with you this lesson. So let's go. Let's start with the lectures. Well, by saying good morning to Cristina Veiga Pires. I have here an introduction. Well, Google help us in these things, and I found something to introduce, that Cristina Veiga Pires, born in France, is graduated in geology from the University Paris Orsay, and it's doctorate in environmental science in isotopic geochemistry at the University du Québec in Montreal, Canada. Is assistant professor with tenure since 2005, teaching in the Department of Earth, Marine and Environmental Science, Faculty of Science and Technology at the University of Algarve. In 2014, she assumed the position of Executive Director of the Science Center, Centro Ciência Viva do Algarve, in Faro, where promotes a participatory science project for the coastal management. Subdirector of the Faculty of Science and Technology since 2009 to 2012, and President of the Pedagogic Council of the Faculty of Marine and Environment Science in 2002-2003. Participates in research projects in the fields of paleoceanography, I say it right, or paleoclimatology, sedimentology, submarine groundwater discharge, and karst systems, with several works published in specialized journals as well in Congress proceedings and book chapters. Supervise masters and doctoral thesis, coordinates and participates in She also, thank you. She also organized and chairs science cafes entitled Café Oceano for nearly a decade and collaborated on numerous science popularization initiatives. Thank you, CIMA webpage, for this all information. And besides it, Cristina Veiga Pires also have time to come with us and present a lecture. Well, also saying that she with the Science Center and the school, our school, we form a science partnership that allow us that have that kiln, that oven to burn organic matter, so that we can proceed with the organic blue sea organic matter protocol. And so once again, thank you, Cristina Vega Pires, for coming here to have time for us. And now I think I will pass.
Thank you, Emmanuel. It was perfect. So you all see that I have a French accent when I speak English. Sorry about that. I also have it in Portuguese. I know that you were looking at Ria Formosa. I am actually on the terrace on the Centro Ciência Viva, just for you to see in real time Ria Formosa. And here we are. So sometime you'll hear a boat or a train or a plane. I'm sorry about that, but I think the view is what you need for the moment. So yes, it is almost summer here. So I don't know if I already can share my screen with you. If so, I have just to find my. So can you see this first slide? Yes, so I am going to speak about a project that has been made from the intermunicipal Algarve region in order to have a plan for climate change adaptation. So it is not just my work, it is a work of a team that is all from University do Algarve, CIMA Research Center, but is also from other research centers in Portugal for other areas. So the plan was not only about coastline, but also about hydrology, forest, biodiversity, urban planning, etc. And I will just present you this part of the Algarve coast. So I'm not going just to focus on the climatic impacts or on the Algarve coastline, but I will also explain you somehow how we did this project and the importance of speaking with a lot of different partners in order to create the right adaptation, or at least have information for the pathways that we can have for climate adaptations. So here we are. So first of all, the project setting. So this is the Algarve, the whole region of the Algarve. So Ria Formosa will be in this, can you see my small pointer? Yes. So Ria Formosa will be here. And it is important when we speak about coastlines that coastline is not the same everywhere. For instance, in the Algarve, the west part, so from the western coastline to the southern coastline, it is all very cliffy, rocky, with the high cliffs. You have some picture here, some different cliffs. Some are more limestone, some are more sandy, but they are all cliffs from here, sector 13 to the west. On the other side, on the east part, it is what we call the lowland coastline. As you know, it is the Ria Formosa. You've seen a lot of videos from what I said, you've been around, so you'll have this barrier island or salt marsh around, and it goes until the frontier with Spain. So we have two different settings, and more of that, we also have a dominant wave climate that comes from southwest. So it means that the waves will come mostly during the year from southwest. So as you can imagine, the impact of those waves are not the same or on some coastline that are just in front, or some coastline that are protected from these waves. So this is the first thing, is you have to determine your geology of the coastline. And then of course you have to have an idea of the evolution of the coastline. And unfortunately, this is very risky. As you can see on those images, we have a lot of events, either due to storms or general high waves that will open new inlets. Here on the first picture in 2006, you have an inlet that was created during a storm. It means that we have an island before, and now the sea can go through. Then on the rocky shore, we can also have quite important impacts. And unfortunately, in 209, some lives were lost in this beach because of cliff erosion. We also have the erosion of the islands that will destroy either some houses or some structure from the beaches. So this coastline evolution is quite important, not only in geology or for the environment, but also for the population. And it goes, of course, a lot with some news about all these impacts along the coast. So what we do is we have to plan for the future, and the future will be made based on climate models and scenarios. I don't know if you already heard about that, but what we do, the models are based on some ideas that along the next 50 years or 100 years, we'll have an increase of gas effect stufa. I'm missing my word there. It's good because there is a plane coming out. So greenhouse effect gases. Yes, I was waiting for the
yes, students help you.
Yes, good. Greenhouse effect gases. And we have several scenarios. The blue one will be the less impacted one. It means that we are stopping our emissions and diminishing them. So the increase in temperature will be just between 0.9 and 2.3 degrees. The worst one will mean that we keep on emitting gases, and the general increase in temperature over the world is 3.25 to 5.4 degrees Celsius. It means that all those lines you see there, those are all different models, and they all point out to the same things. Okay, so it depends of our life and politicians and economics. But linked to this increase of temperature, there are other things that can happen. As you know, there is also sea level rise. So here on the right, you have the real values of carbon or gas in the atmosphere equivalent to carbon dioxide. As you know, it is not the only greenhouse effect gas, so we do equivalent to carbon dioxide. So these scenarios allow us to predict the sea level rise. So on the bottom, we have the predicted sea level rise for one of the intermediate scenarios, the 4.5, and the worst scenarios for the next 100 years. This is the predicted for the Algarve region. So it means that in 2100, we'll have 70 centimeters in the medium scenario and 1 meter of sea level rise for the worst scenario. And in the project, we used those two models, and we also looked at different years a long time. So 2040, 2070, and 2100. Linked to this sea level rise, we also have the storminess. And to use the storminess, what we did is look at the historical values of the storms in the Algarve, and we took the 50 years most relevant storms, so what we call the 50-year return period, to use in our models. Based on that, so those are the two variables most important we use together with the different type of coastline, and we did a simulation. So we use, as I told you, we have two different coastlines, so rocky shore and sandy shore, the lowland and the cliff part. They will not react the same way to storms and to sea level rise. So we have to consider those two different types. And we put on the sea level rise and storm impacts. Based on that, we'll have some information for all the coastline, for the cliff retreat rate and the shore erosion. So it means how far and how quick this cliff will retreat, will be eroded. And on the sandy shore, we'll have the sediment accumulation or the beach erosion. For that, we have to have present day. So we have to be sure that our model works. And what we did is we used this model for the present day. We used the present day using some values that we already know from 2000 to 2011. And what we obtained is this kind of map where you can see that the horizontal migration, it means either the retreat or events on the coast, will go from -6 meters per year to 2 to 6 meters per year. So on some places, such as here, you can see the Ria Formosa, and here a red dot, it means that this place is retrieving back, is eroded more than 6 meters per year along this period of time. So in 10 years, it is a lot. And in some places, you'll have the opposite. You have growing. So the beach will be growing. Those are the blue lines. As you can see, in general, on the west part, it is more yellowish, so a retrieve. And when you are in front of the dominant wave, it is also more yellowish. And on the other side, you can accumulate in some bays, very specific bays, or on the east side of Ria Formosa. So this is the today trend, to be sure that we did our work and that our model is correct with what we observed. We can also do that with the impact of the 50-year return period storm, where we can see that the storms have a higher impact on all the lowland and some pocket beaches, bays here. So the cliffs are not really affected by this impact of 50 years during this present day vulnerability. So now we have to go to the future, and I will just show you the results of the highest scenario. So the worst scenario, the one where nobody does nothing for gas, greenhouse effect gas. On the left side, you have a picture. So it's a satellite image with the actual Quarteira town that is just along the coast. It is on the beach. And you have different lines, color lines, that will show you the prediction of the position of the coastline between 2011, the blue one that is already passed, but it is more or less what we have today, until 2000 and 2100, the red one. As you can see, the beach is disappearing. In 100 or 80 years now, the beach will disappear. On the right side, you have the same technique, but this is an island of Ria Formosa. It is Faro Island and Camp Peninsula, it's the same. And you have also the blue, the present, and as you can see, the red line will also almost destroy all the island. If we look at the maximum inundation, it means that you probably know that the sea level rise is something that is global, but sometimes we have what we call storm surge. It means that the level of the sea is higher due to pressures of storms around. And when we have that, all the level of the sea will rise and we have maximum inundations together with tides. And when we look at that for the worst scenario, we can see that the town, I just told you, it's the same as just the slide before, will be inundated until the 2 first rows of houses. So it means that almost half the houses along the coast will be inundated. And here, the whole island is inundated. It means that the water will pass over the entire island in 80 years. So based on these results, what we decided is to present stakeholders, politicians, economists, etc., some coastal adaptation strategy and measures. So you can decide what is your strategy as a stakeholder or politician. And we presented 3 different strategies that are those columns. You proceed with the withdrawal of occupation in vulnerable coastal zones. So it means that you retrieve the people, but also you let the environment be at ease and have a normal evolution, can be whatever. You protect vulnerable coastlines, coastal areas. It means that you will promote some groins, artificial feeding of beaches, etc. Or the final one, you promote accommodation in vulnerable coastal areas, it means that you have to implement system alerts, etc. So the columns are strategies which are quite different, either trying to become more natural or protect and transform the coastline. And for each of these strategies, you'll have some measures that you have to take. So for the first one, you have to renaturalize, for instance. For the second one, you have to promote control of landslides, of cliffs. For the third one, you have to monitor, and you have a lot of different measures you can take. Based on that, what we did is present some pathways. So this is the part I think that is very interesting in this case, because everybody can participate. As you see, those are on the left part, we are speaking about Quarteira, so the place I showed with the houses along a beach. On the right side, it is island from the system of Ria Formosa, so a barrier island. Those are two different systems, so we cannot do the same measures on those two systems, but there are several measures that can be applied. So what we do is here we have a timeline from present to 2100, and on vertical, all the different measures we can take to adapt the coastline to this climate change. So in an area like Quarteira, where you have a city along the beach, you can nourish artificially the beaches, you can construct seawalls and artificial beach nourishment, you can construct dunes and nourish them, you can retreat and relocate the settlements, the first line, the closest one, or you can also retreat and relocate the settlement, the second line. As I showed you, the water will go into the second line of settlements. And this is what we call a pathway. So a long time, you can decide what you are going to do for the adaptation. And at any moment in time, you can change, because you know that you can start from artificial beach nourishment, but you know that if you go on like that, you'll never end, and you'll have always the same problem, and you'll put more money, and it will resolve nothing. So you can do your own pathway to reach the better end. On the Ancão, the peninsula, the barrier island, there are less choices because there is not so much settlement. So we can do the renourishment of beaches, but this is very, very not efficient, because there is a very effective translongitudinal current that will transport the sediment. So we have less choices, and the idea will probably be to leave the system react by itself. But this is the options we have, and we can present this type of graph to technicians from municipalities, to stakeholders, to politicians. And actually that's what we did in several different meetings, and we present this, and they choose the pathway they think is the best. So in the zone where we have the settlement, the small city, people started, so we are speaking about technicians from the municipalities here, this is the main result, that the population is not ready to go right to the retreat and relocation of settlements, and politicians and all what it implies to find new places for the people, to put money in that. So they should start, or we should start first with a nourishment of the beaches. But then this is not something that can go on during a long time. So we will go through dune construction, an artificial dune construction, to help also protect more the houses. And finally, in the last part of the century, probably we'll have to do this relocation. In the peninsula, the barrier island, they all went directly to the retreat and relocation of settlements, because the conditions do not allow us to lose time, because we will have to relocate anyway. Those people, the islands are moving very quickly. And I think that's the end of what I only had 10 minutes, so I wanted to keep my time. And the conclusion is that you have to, of course, have the scientific knowledge, but you cannot go on this type of subjects and matters that matter everyone, go without speaking with the community and put the knowledge of the community together with the scientific knowledge. And only like that, and with the political will, we will be able to co-create these adaptation pathways and have effective adaptation and transformation on the field. That's all. Obrigada for everybody. I hope I was clear. We'll have now one of my colleagues, Miguel, that will present a small activity related to sea level rise. And afterwards, I don't know if there is some places for questions, but I'll be open for questions, of course. Thank you,
Yes.
Emmanuel.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it will be time for Q&A, questions and answers. But I think you wanted to pass to Miguel to do the activity, or
as you want. We can do the questions now if you want, and have the activities later on, or we can have the activity, because I think part of what Miguel is going to show will help a bit to understand these differences in coastlines and how the sea level rise will impact in different ways the different places.
So let's see if there's any question from students or teachers that would like to ask, to do. Or you can write in the chat, so I can read it.
I was also looking at the chat, so either it was clear or very not clear. We'll see later.
For me, for sure, it was clear. I make here some questions. I can put one. Well, one would be that these already, the government and municipalities already decide which pathway to follow.
So yes, some of the municipalities, this is one of the problems, is that the plan was for the entire region, the Algarve region, but now each municipality will do its own plan and its own activity. So the type of adaptation is somehow dependent on the municipalities. And that's the next step. We are trying to have a review of what the municipalities are choosing as a strategy, as measures. The first measures they all took is trying to have some more information about their local reality. That's the only thing for the moment. And as you know, in some islands, there was already some retreats of some houses some years ago, but it stopped there.
Yeah. Well, also this year we will have municipalities elections. So I think we students, Portuguese students, be aware for what each politician will promise to do, and then this is a huge concern that we have to be alert for what they say and what they are going to do. And some of them are making 18 years old. Probably will be the first time they will vote, and they must be conscious to whom or to what they will vote. Well, if there's no other question, 9:30, I think we can continue. We can pass to Miguel. And thank you, Christina, once again for your time and for your presentation. Clear as water. Thank you.
So good morning to everyone. Welcome virtually to Portugal. My name is Miguel Rodrigues. I'm very sorry for my camera is not working, so you can only see that awful picture there. But I'm going to share. This is not really an activity we are going to do. It's like an illustration in a small activity that anyone can do of what could happen or will happen on those models that Christina showed you. So give me a second here. I'll try to share this with you. Okay, I think.
Eu já sou da primeira base e ainda estou à espera da segunda dose, só em junho. Ah, tá bem, uma menina vai decidir.
Okay. I think there's a microphone somewhere there.
Yes, there is.
Some microphone.
Caríssimo diretor, está com o micro ligado. And also,
okay.
Mila, you are also with. Please mute your phone, your micros, please.
So
Miguel, I think you can continue.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is a small video with just some pictures, and I will stop the video to explain what we did in this small activity illustration of what will or could happen. So here we have the setup for the experiment. And you see, this is just a, I don't know exactly the word in English, maquette. And you have to use your imagination here, okay? So I invite you to use all of your imagination. And can you see the pointer here on the left side? Emmanuel, can you see the pointer?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So I use this to show. This is, for example, Greenland, okay? So this should be full of ice. You'll see the ice in a few minutes. We'll put the ice here. Then this is the ocean, okay? Use our imagination, don't forget. It's a small boat on our shore here in Portugal or anywhere else in Europe. So you can imagine here the beach. You have a street, you have the houses and the buildings. This is a very nice cafe for you to have a drink on the beach. So everything's nice, seems nice so far. So ocean, our coast, and this could be Greenland or the Antarctic continent. Okay, and I mean continent, so land. Then have another view on the same set. Remember, this is the ocean, very small, I know, but this is could be the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, and then we add two different situations. They are happening at the same time, but we separate them for to be easier to understand. So for the first situation, you have the sea ice. This ice I'm putting here on the ocean. Okay, it doesn't reach our coast. Okay, just imagine this is on the Arctic Circle, for example. And this ice, every year in winter, it grows a little bit, and then in summer, it retreats a little bit. The problem is every summer, it retreats more, and every winter, it grows less. So we are losing ice very fast, okay? And this ice is floating on the ocean. This is very important to understand what's coming next. This ice is floating on the ocean. I'm not talking about the ice on the continent there, okay? We still have no ice to show here, okay? And then we have this really cute animal, the polar bear. We put there just to, for you to imagine. This is always a problem on both sides, okay? And then we waited for the ice to melt. This is exactly what is happening right now, okay? You can imagine all the ice on the Arctic Circle or on the south on the Antarctic Circle, okay? But in the Arctic, temperatures are varying more than in the Antarctic. So the Arctic is warming up very, very fast, much faster than in the rest of the world. Then, if you wait for this ice to melt, now here we marked for our experiment. Where is the coastline here? Okay, you see everything is very close, but you have to imagine this tiny bit of ocean here, so thousands of miles. Okay, So the ice is very far away from our coast. But we have this could be the coastline, okay? And then we wait for next summer, for example. And then we have this situation. Most years, this is what happens. We have this, the poor polar bear has no ice anymore. It's drowning there. Actually, they don't drown. They really swim very well, but they are starving. Why? This ice you see here is really, really important them to feed. They need this floating ice, not the continental ice. They need the floating ice to hunt the seals, okay? To feed and to feed their young. Then the situation is that most years in summer, they lose all or most of the ice. So they lose their habitat. They can't feed them. Most of them are starving to death, okay? But then here on the coast, everything seems fine. Everything is cool, okay? So summer is coming. It seems more or less okay. Christina showed you that it's really not okay. But for us, when you see one small lapse of time, it seems okay. Okay, so you have our nice cafe on the beach, have our boat. This is the boat, okay? Have our boat to go to fish on the sea, and our town is really okay. The problem is really on the Arctic. Now let's go to a different scenario. This is a different situation that happens at the same time. And now you see the setup is a little different. Now we represent the ice, the continental ice. So this is the ice outside of the water, outside of the sea. Okay, it's on top of continents. Could be Greenland, could be Antarctica. Okay, and we add, you see here, we add warm water. Okay, you see the rule here. This is to measure if there is some increase in vertical sea level, and this is the sea level, the difference in sea level we could see on the coast. So this is the initial setup. We still have the polar bear because they also use the continental ice, and then we wait. And in next summer, this is what will happen if things goes on as usual, as we have behaving on our planet like we do until now. Okay, we won't have icebergs on our coast, not yet, but this ice should be here near the Arctic, okay? But most of the ice, or all the ice, will melt, and this impacts directly there. They lose the ice on the Arctic or Antarctica. They lose part of that ice. But here we have also an impact. So there goes our cafe. You'll be wetting your feet, okay? And we also already have the boat almost on the road. So all the beach is underwater. And this is exactly what Christina was showing you before, the retreat of the coastline. And here we have a scenario with no waves, so no surfing today, okay? If you have waves, you'll have this line of water, salt water from the sea, going in and out all day, okay? Especially during the high tide. But you only have some melt of the ice on the continental ice. If we have more ice melting, we have more sea level rise. The ice melting is actually not the only one factor that's impacting on our coast. There are different factors. Christina told you about the pressure. For example, and there is also the elevation of the water. So if the water is warmer, it will occupy a little bit more volume. So the sea level will be even a little higher. And you see where the water is. So now you have the boat on the street. Okay, so, and you have to use the street with boats, not with cars. This is, in the scenarios Christina showed you, this is what will happen to Quarteira, and even more, because the water will pass through the first line of buildings. These are really tall buildings, and most of the first floor will be underwater. Okay, so you could go to your balcony and fish with your fishing line on your balcony, and this is with calm sea. If there was a torment, if there was a really strong winds and strong waves, all this water will destroy everything behind this line of building. Okay, because it will be going through all this line here. So with this kind of melting, with the continental ice, we had the impact on the origin. All these habitats completely lost for the life there. You have a huge impact on the currents in the sea, because all this fresh water goes to the salt water of the sea. This completely impacts the currents that distribute the heat on our planet. And then you have the impact on our own coast. And this is not only Portugal coast. This is all the coasts in the world. Some will be more impacted and other ones will be less impacted, but all of them will suffer with this. Now imagine we didn't have buildings. We could have farming lands. All this salt water, just once the salt water goes on those lands, they are waste forever. If you put salt on the land, you can cultivate no more for very, very, very long time. You still have an iceberg there. Okay, this is the last picture. And then you see here that, sorry, that green line there was the initial coastline. Okay, and you can say, oh, but he's exaggerating a lot. Well, Christina show you I'm not. Okay, and those data are proved data, and you see this will happen if we keep things as they are until now. Okay, you have no ice on Greenland and on Antarctica, for example. You have no ice on the North Pole. You wouldn't go to the North Pole walking or on a snowmobile. You go to the North Pole by boat. There will be no ice on the North Pole. But all that water will be here on our coasts. Okay, so this is most of all what I wanted to show you. This is a small experiment to illustrate what is happening and what will happen in the future. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay.
Gail, can you come back the last picture, not this one, the other one?
This one?
Yes, this one, just to show that the difference between the sea level rise in vertical and in horizontal. Just when we say that sea level rise will rise from 50 centimeters, we are looking at where Miguel is pointing out. That's why there is a huge difference in that and the effect on the coast. As you can see on the coast, due to the inclination of the coast, you'll have a much higher impact. This is not just 50 centimeters or 70 centimeters. We are speaking of large surfaces of inundations. Thanks, Miguel.
So let me try now to stop the sharing.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Miguel. So, students, if you have any question, okay, Mila. Okay, Mila. Will it be the same impact in the Mediterranean Sea? Since Mila is from Almeria, so is in the east coast of Spain. Will it be the same impact there?
Yes, mostly. The impact will depend on the inclination. So if you have a cliff or if you have really a smooth inclination of the beach, so it will be the same impact. The range of sea level rise is more or less the same in 100 years or 80 years. And what will also help a bit is the vertical movement of the continent. So Almeria is not moving quickly vertically, so it will be mostly the same. Yes.
So the level will rise everywhere in each coast, in the North Sea or in the Baltic
mostly
Sea?
Well, in the North Sea, not that fast, because the North Sea is coming, all the north regions are coming up. They are rising. They have a vertical movement that is rising because they lost ice 20,000 years ago. So now they are coming up to compensate the loss of this weight. So when you're speaking about Greenland and North Europe, the sea level rise is not really the same.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, yeah. Oh, our beach. One day just postcards or not. If we do something, that's why we also have this project. This project is to aware our students, our colleagues, everyone, local school communities that the climate change is here, and that is also a result of the human impacts, and they will have a lot of impact in the coast ecosystems. So if there's no more questions, thank you, Cristina, thank you, Miguel. Miguel is also a math science teacher that is working in the Centro Ciência Viva no Algarve. Sorry, Miguel, I didn't introduce you.
No problem.
Okay, so thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your lectures, your explanation. Thank you. So let's continue with our program. Now I will introduce the next speaker. Is sorry, I have to search for my paper. Okay, it's Nicolas Blanc. He has a degree in biology from the University of Algarve. This is very good that I have the Algarve University helping us and be a partners in our activities. And he has a master in marine biodiversity and conservation from the University of Algarve, Klaipeda University, and Ghent University. I hope I said it right. He's always interested in marine life. He has interned at the NGO, non-government organization for the protection of natural parks in St. Eustatius, Dutch Caribbean, and conduct cetacean census between continental Portugal, Azores, and Madeira, and work at the Center of Marine Science, CCMAR, on projects related to reducing ecological impacts in crustacean fisheries and fish valorization. Well, he collaborates with CIANA, it's Association of Marine Science and Cooperation, since 2016, first as volunteer and then as a technician in the area of fisheries and aquaculture. Also assisting in CIANA's contributions to the work of the oil-free Algarve platform. Welcome, Nicolas.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Okay, so the floor is yours. I pass to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Can you hear me well?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to set up my presentation here. Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you very much, Emmanuel, for the invitation to participate and for actually giving me information about this project you have, which is very, very interesting, and we're very happy to help in this event. So I'm gonna put up my presentation. Let me know if you can see it. Should be okay now.
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so like Emmanuel said, quickly, my name is Nicolas. I live in southern Portugal, in Faro. I was originally born in Switzerland, but I've been in Portugal for most of my life, and I'm a marine biologist working for this NGO Emmanuel told you, called CIANA, which is a Portuguese NGO that works on marine conservation. So we focus on the oceans and how to protect them. And we work not only in Portugal, but in all European Union with colleagues from different countries. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the biodiversity crisis. So this extinction of some of valuable species that is happening at the moment, and it's very logical in the sense that you were just talking about climate change and those subjects. So this is going to be a nice segue to give you more information about the impacts of not only climate change, but other human activities in our oceans and the biodiversity, okay? So I'm gonna give you a quick overview on Siena, our NGO. So our vision, like I was saying, is to focus on marine conservation. So we want a marine environment that's strong, that's healthy, and we want also a population, a society that it's engaged in its conservation. So we want an informed population that can not only do actions that are directly impactful in the oceans, but also that they can give information or put pressure into our local or national governments to make sure that we use the oceans in the best way possible. So in our NGO, we have three main pillars. So three main areas of action, let's say. The first one is fisheries and aquaculture. One of our main uses of the oceans, like you will know, is to get food, and this comes by fisheries and aquaculture. So we work directly to put pressure, for example, on the European Parliament, European Commission, and European Council. On the photo here, for example, is our coordinator Gonçalo at the time with the fisheries director, let's say, of the European Commission, where we always try to make sure that the fisheries in Europe are made within sustainable limits, so we don't catch more than we should. And then we work on the national levels with other Portuguese NGOs that work on fisheries, so we're not the only one in Portugal, of course, and to make sure that we have a connected network of NGOs, of associations. We created this platform called Ponc Pesca, which is a platform of NGOs in Portugal that work on fisheries. So this makes sure that we can have a national reach and to put pressure on our governments and also to inform the public about the importance of sustainable fisheries. Finally, as a last example of our work in fisheries, we also try to work with local fishermen, with small-scale fishermen, because in general, small scale is a better way to fish with less impact, and also to provide better more value to our local fishing communities, as opposed to just supporting industrial fishing. So we have this project called Val Mais, where we try to work with local fishermen, small-scale fishermen, to try to get their fisheries to be more sustainable, and then to try to show the public why they should go, if they want to eat fish, why they should choose fish from small-scale fisheries. Our other pillar is, of course, marine pollution, which is a big concern for our ocean, and also renewable energies. So, for example, we work on campaigns to make sure that we have a proper legislation that makes us use less plastic, for example, or less single-use plastic. We were very active some years ago in a platform in the Algarve, so in the southern region of Portugal, because at the time there were some contracts to make oil exploration in Portugal, specifically in our ocean. So several NGOs and people came together to fight this possibility of oil, and we actually went to court to fight these contracts, and our movement was able to win. So all the contracts were cancelled, and this was a very successful campaign by everyone involved in not only in the Algarve but in Portugal, because there was lots of movements all throughout Portugal. And finally, we are now going into a new threat. Let's say we got rid of any possibility of oil extraction in Portugal, but we are now facing a new threat, which is called deep sea mining. You will start hearing more about this in the next years. Deep sea mining will be an activity that will probably take place in some areas of the world to dig up some materials that are used for batteries and stuff like that. And there are quite abundant in some regions in the deep sea. But this has lots of different issues, because we don't know the impacts that this activity may create. We don't know enough about the deep sea to make sure that our impact, how impactful our actions will be. And so we created this movement called Oceano Livre, which can be translated to Free Ocean, where we try to educate the people and make sure that this topic comes to the public, to make sure that if this activity starts in Portugal, that the people are aware of the possible impacts that this will generate. And I will quickly talk, just to finish, about our work in our NGO. I will just talk quickly about 2 actions that we have in our third pillar. Our third pillar, or our third focus, is education and awareness. So obviously, actions like this one that is being promoted with students from all around Europe, we try to be involved and try to educate about this sort of about the oceans, basically. So we have 2 main actions that we develop each year. One is called CNMA Festival. So it's a festival about the oceans that we organize each year. And it's been done in Faro since 2016, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, last year we cannot do it because of the pandemic, but we did an online version. If all goes well this year, we'll come back to the physical format. And so basically we show movies about the oceans and documentaries, and we always do a free entrance. So we want to make sure that everyone that can participate will come. And the main thing here is we not only show the documentaries, but then we try to create a debate about the topic of the documentary. So we invite experts, either from the local university or from museums in the Algarve or from schools, to come and talk about the issue. And then we create a discussion between the experts and the public to make sure that we have a nice understanding about the topic of the movie. These are, for example, the posters that we have for each edition. And then here we have just a quick animation about some of the documentaries and movies we've showed. So obviously we try to show different issues, for example, overfishing, pollution, noise pollution, the threat of deep sea mining, of oil exploration, and also of biodiversity extinction, which is the topic that I'm going to focus on. So here you can see for some movies that we've showed in the last few years. And a quick note on our other activity that we have each year. It's called Marmoto, and it's basically an exhibition of arts dedicated to the ocean. So we have a gallery that we organize each year with pieces from artists from Portugal and also from other countries. And this is a list of the cities that we've organized. It's been always organized in Portugal in several cities. And yeah, basically we have different artists, not only from the city where we have the gallery, but also from other regions of Portugal, and now starting to have artists from other countries. And it's basically a gallery where we invite people to come, and we have pieces dedicated from the ocean. So it can be either from a direct threat of a particular conservation issue, or from an experience of the artist with the ocean. And we give, obviously, a free pass for the artist. They can do a piece about whatever they like. Of course, it has to be connected to the ocean. So it's been a very nice experience to organize this event. And if everything goes well, we'll organize the next one in July in Faro. So coming now to the topic, I just have some photos of some of the murals we've done with Marmoto. So we always try to be engaged with the community and to do some pieces that will last for a lot of years in the cities. But now we'll come to the topic of the discussion. So you've very likely heard about the climate crisis, so this climate change issue, and we were talking about it just before my presentation. But another crisis that's ongoing and going at the same time, and it's also connected to the climate crisis, is the biodiversity crisis. So you obviously know about the huge biodiversity we have, not only on land, but in the oceans. And it's just to give a first information, it's normal that some species disappear. It's always happened. But the question here is the speed at which species are disappearing. So since the last mass extinction 65 million years ago, this is the time where the biggest amount of species is disappearing in a short span of time. And obviously we can relate this to human activities, okay? And these are several. So it's not only climate change, but it's what we call over-harvesting. So on land, it can be a quick use of resources, and on the oceans is, for example, overfishing. And then obviously it's also about pollution or in the atmosphere or in the oceans. And a lot of it is because of habitat loss. So some species no longer have a habitat that they depend on to survive. This can be on land, for example, some forests where we cut down trees, or it can be in the oceans where we destroy their natural environment and they're no longer able to use the space that they need to. So we have here a quick image showing you some of the current disappearance of species, let's say. So, for example, in the ocean, 6 out of 7 marine turtle species are threatened with extinction. On land, we can say that 1 out of 8 bird species are threatened, 1 out of 4 mammal, 1 out of 3 amphibian. And regarding fish, which is a big focus for our NGO, 75% of the world's fisheries are being fully or overexploited. When we talk about overfishing in the oceans, this means that we are taking a part of a fish population at a higher speed that they can reproduce, okay? So obviously, depending on the fish species, each year or each 2 years, they reproduce. It can be more for some species, but we are taking more that they can replenish at that level. And that's a big concern for this commercially exploited fish species, okay? So this is a focus on how we lose biodiversity in our oceans. So this can happen by habitat destruction. So I have an image there of one of the most destructive fishing practice on the world. It's called bottom trawling. So it's literally a net that is dropped in the ocean and dragged along the sea bottom to catch several fish or invertebrate species that are on the bottom floor, and then this is brought up back to the boat. And obviously, there are 2 direct consequences. One of them is habitat destruction. So these nets have some weights on the bottom. So this destroys everything that is there. We're talking about corals or big rocks or structures that the fish or other species depend on to survive. And then obviously, aside from the habitat destruction, we have the problem where this gets everything that is there. So it's what we call a non-selective fishing gear. So it takes everything that is there. And I've been on the fishing boats that use this technique. And as you can imagine, this is a big problem because it's not selective, it brings a lot of species that the fishermen don't want. So what happens next is they discard them, okay? They throw them back on the ocean. And I've been on the boat like this. I can tell you that in the boat that I was in, the fishermen were after prawns, okay, that live in the ocean floor. But obviously they catch a lot of fish, octopus, and so on. And so for each kilo, or let's say the time where we got the most prawns, we got 40 kilos in one net that stays in the water for 2 or 3 hours. And for those 40 kilos, we caught almost 1,000 kilos of other species that were discarded in the ocean. Okay, so that's 40 kilos of prawns for almost 1,000 kilos of other species that were discarded. So it's a very, very harming fishing practice that we need to reduce in our oceans, basically. Then we have other forms of habitat destruction, like direct destruction of habitats. This happens a lot, for example, in mangroves. That is important for a lot of species, and also coral bleaching that comes from ocean warming and then ocean acidification that actually destroys corals and makes the whole communities of fish and other species that depend on corals, they basically have nowhere to go. And then the biggest threat to our oceans is overfishing. So it's this issue that I was telling you about, that of taking more fish out of the oceans that they reproduce naturally. And this happens all around the world in every sea, basically. So it's very important that we try to understand how to stop overfishing and how to make sure that our fisheries are as sustainable as possible. We then have big issues as well, like pollution and invasive species, which also can have focal points or can make some species disappear in certain areas. And it's an issue that is increasing. For example, pollution for the last decades with the issue of plastic. It's something that is being more and more present and more harmful. So I just want to give you one example, so a concrete example of overfishing that is happening, and it's something that we're working on. So this species of shark is called the short fin mako shark. So it's a shark that is specifically important to regulate the marine food web, because it's a top predator, as you can imagine, and it exists in the Pacific as well. But we focus specifically on the Atlantic population. Okay, since we live in Portugal, obviously, we focus on the Atlantic population, and we have a big issue with this mako, and is an endangered species at the moment, because we actually catch it in our fisheries. Sorry, I heard something, but I'm just going to continue. So quickly, this shark is caught. I just put an animation on the top left. That fishing gear is called a long line fishery. So basically, it's a very large, long line that fishermen put in the ocean with hundreds or thousands of hooks. Okay, and this is mainly to catch in the Atlantic. This is mainly to catch swordfish. Okay, so this fish here. The problem is, obviously, you're going to catch other species and other fish. And so in the Atlantic, this gear catches a lot of blue shark and mako shark, which is this shark here. And the problem is, this shark is what we call a long-lived species. Okay, they only start reproducing after 10 or 15 years. So they need a lot of time before they can start reproducing. And the problem is, we're catching a lot of juveniles. So we're not giving time for these sharks to grow up and to reproduce and have more sharks, let's say. And even for when they reproduce, for example, we humans, as you know, the women need 9 months to gestate. These sharks need 15 to 18 months to gestate. So it's a very sensitive species, and we need to be very mindful of our impacts in these species. So we are fighting with other NGOs and some countries, for example, Great Britain, Canada, Senegal. They are putting ideas and suggestions to protect these species, but unfortunately, some countries are being more concerned about some fishermen, and they want to continue this fishery, which is very damaging to mako sharks. So after talking about the threats, we can just to finish talk about some of the things we can do to try to reverse these situations. So the first thing is get informed. This goes for adults, older people, younger people. The most important thing is to get informed. You can do this by reading books, reading websites, visiting museums, following NGOs on social media, try to be engaged in their activities, and really understanding your impact. And so you have two main things. One of them is to look at your direct personal impact, and the other is try to go for your local community, your country, and try to have some impact. But obviously, for your personal impact, you need to try to understand what is the impact of the food you're eating, of the clothes you're buying, of the transport you choose. And this is where we talk about buying less and buying better. So trying to reduce our consumption. And when we talk about consumption, we talk about everything, about the type of food, about the amount of clothes you buy, the amount of electronics we buy, which has significant impact as well. And then trying to get involved and trying to have an impact outside of your own self, but having an impact in your family, in your community, in your school, for example. And this is why it's very important to get involved, either with movements or associations. And it's one of the biggest impacts you can do, because then you're replicating your impact onto others. So I know this was quite fast, but regarding the time I had, I wanted to try to get information on several topics. So I hope you enjoyed it. And obviously, if you have any questions or something that you would like to talk about more in depth, please go for it. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you, thank you, Nicholas. Yes, well, very good. Dear students and colleagues, so if you want to put some questions to Nicholas in the chat or just asking. Well, yes, it's morning, it's Monday, so few questions. Although, sorry, although a big thank you also to you, Nicholas, because that was a nice explanation and open our eyes to the problems, and for sure that the deep sea mining will bring a lot of problems. And any connection with lithium? You said that was for batteries, but probably because of the lithium.
Yeah, but lithium is a bigger concern for land mining. So there's several movements that are focused on that. On the sea, it's more with other minerals or metals, but still that are needed for batteries, for electric cars and so on. And this is why it's important to, okay, we want to look at renewable energies and electric cars, but it's not enough to just do a complete change. We don't want to replace all the cars in the world with electric cars. We want to reduce the amount of cars and promote public transportation and easier ways to move, especially in big cities that don't implicate having thousands of cars. Yes.
We have to move to that, to the renewable energies, but we have to see in what cost that change. So be conscious. Well, I will again say thank you. Maybe just telling a story that I had in the last Friday with a colleague here, that we were talking about something about the biodiversity, and I think he read in a newspaper that Ria Streck, I think it's the name in English, Ria, it's also in danger to disappear. And so he decided this year he will not eat Ria Streck, because that's a famous dish here in Olhão. It's raialhada, and so it will stop eating. So that is also good. It's information for everyone that lives in Olhão, that we like it very much, that dish. It's part of our gastronomy, but probably we have to stop a while so that we can have in the future to eat that dish. Yeah, you want to say something, Nicholas?
No, that's very good. That's the thing. If you know about a problem, you have two ways of handling it. You either continue doing the same thing you were doing, or you try to change to reduce your impact. And yes, I was talking about sharks, but sharks and rays are quite connected, and we have and lots of ray species are endangered, like a lot of sharks, because they're very sensitive species. And although some rays are forbidden to catch in Portugal, exactly because of that problem, still last week we got information that the maritime police caught fishermen with lots of these rays illegally, and it's a problem that keeps going. But that's the thing: if people stop eating it, fishermen will stop catching them. So this is why we need to work in two directions. One is to the public to be informed and try to make the right choice, and the other is to try to stop these illegal fishing activities and to protect our oceans and its biodiversity, which was the topic. Yes.
Yes, it is also our role as teachers in the secondary schools to warn these future citizens, so they could be conscious citizens. Thank you, Nicholas. Again, thank you, Christina. And so we arrive at the end of the first part of our event of the fourth day. So now we will make a break. Most of us are here 1 hour seat, so let's stretch our legs. So I think that we can make a 5 to 10 minutes break. You have also, students and teachers, the link to the form to register your presence here. Once again, thank to our speakers. Thank you for this part of the morning. Pina is already taking the middle snack. of the day. In 7 minutes, we will arrive
Daqui a bocado
again.
ligo-lhe o microfone e
Yeah, we will arrive again with these students that they are already preparing the next hour. Okay, so please the form to register your presence. Thank you again to our speakers and see you soon. See you in 7 minutes. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. But let's see if everything is working. Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So, hello again. Okay, 10 minutes break. Here we are. Let's continue with our fourth day of our event. So now a second part, like in our program that we share with you. Oh, hello, Anthony! Long time, Anthony. Oh, I can't be. If I stop here saying hi to everyone, then we don't have an event. So let's continue. So this will be the second part. The second part is a workshop prepared by 12th grade students that attend to chemistry discipline. They participate in mobilities, and they are Erasmus students. Now, sorry. Okay. What they are will do it's a water analysis of the seed water collected early this morning, and so students are prepared. I can see Carolina ready, so I will pass the floor to her, and let's work with them.
Hello, I'm just going to share the screen now. Okay, so hello, my name is Carolina, and today we are going to determine the alkalinity of seawater from Ria Formosa Natural Park. I'm just going to make a quick introduction now. So the pH is a measure of how acidic or basic/alkaline a solution is. It measures the hydrogen ion activity in a solution. The pH measurements are given on a scale of 0 to 14 at a temperature of 25 Celsius degrees. In this picture, you can see the scale of pH. Pure water has a pH of 7 and it is neutral. Water measuring under 7 is acidic, and water measuring above 7 is alkaline or basic. In the picture, you can see that seawater has a pH of 8. Alkalinity. It measures the buffer capacity of seawater, or in other words, it is the water's capacity to resist pH variations. It also represents the total amount of bicarbonate, carbonate, hydroxide, and salts of weak acids that the seawater has. These compounds remove hydrogen ions and lower the acidity of water, thereby increasing pH. It is influenced by rocks and soils, salts, certain plant activities, and certain industrial wastewater discharges. In this lab activity, we will make a titration of a sample of seawater from Ria Formosa Natural Park. This is the normal setup of a titration. Our titrant is going to be the hydrochloric acid, and the analyte is the water sample. Equations. So in water, when hydroxides react with bicarbonates, it results in water and carbonate. This reaction is going to happen in our titration, and the carbonate will react with the hydrochloric acid, resulting in bicarbonate and Cl- ions. The second part of our titration, this reaction will happen, and the bicarbonate will react with H3O plus ions, resulting in carbon dioxide and water. Now we are going to show you how we're going to make this procedure. Wait a little bit. Okay. My colleagues are going to prepare. You're going to see now. Enjoy.
Reagent, sample of seawater, aqueous solution of HCl with a concentration of 0.01 mole per decimeter, cubic decimeter, naphthalene, methyl orange. The material, 15 millirate goblet, 50 millimeter volumetric pipettes, pH meter. The procedure, fill the burette with hydrochloric acid solution with a concentration of 0.01 mole per cubic decimeter. Measure 50 milliliters of the sample water to the goblets. Now add 10 drops of naphthalene. This gives the solution a pink coloration. Now place the pH meter in the goblet. Add the tea training solution from the burette drop by drop until the pink color changes to colorless. This is the first sudden change in pH. Now add 4 drops of methyl orange. This gives the solution a yellow coloration. Add the training solution from the burette drop by drop until the yellow color changes to red. This is the second sudden change in pH.
Okay, what you just saw was how we made the procedure. Now we are going to separate the people from this call and put you in separate rooms. Just wait a little bit.
Okay, so Now you notice some of them already in rooms. Let's go to a room to work. Ok. Teachers é a sala 3? Eu estou a ir para a sala 3, eu? Ok. Ok. Ok.
Eu fiquei sem net, professor. Metam-me lá numa sala.
lab session. Sim, era o único que estava a ouvir-nos. Ai, isto
Até Okay, here we are, all together. Oh, great, fantastic. Nice to see you, everyone here. Okay, now that will be the conclusion, right, Carolina?
Yes, João is going to read the conclusion now.
Okay.
So usually seawater has a level of CaCO3 of around 20 to 200 milligrams. In this case, the alkalinity we measured was 340. So the water is very alkaline, which means the pH variations are buffered, reduced. So in conclusion, this is good. That's the results we got from this experience.
Okay, now you're going to do a Kahoot. Just wait for me to put it.
Kahoot, let's go. What is pH? Okay, so everyone can play. Teachers can play also.
You have the pin, just enter, please.
Almost there. I mean, again, tem curti. I've got T. That's supposed to be teacher.
Okay, I think everyone entered. No.
Almost. We are now 47 participants in our event, but yes, 32. We will not wait for the 47.
Okay, I'm going to start.
Let's go.
Good, good. Now we're going to the next one.
Okay, you give us 1 minute. That's good. It's time. You give time to go to Google and come. Yeah.
The blue one is true and the red one is false.
It seems that you weren't very clear. Yeah. Well, I think it's orange. Maybe brown. Or pink. Yeah, well done, Nadine. Well done. Oh, yes! Congratulations, Nadine.
Thank you.
Yeah, Carolina, do you want to say anything? Congratulations, Nadine.
I think I just want to say thank you for listening, and I hope you liked the activity that we prepared. And I'm just gonna pass the word to Emmanuel.
Okay, thank you, Carolina. Yes, thank you to all students. I hope that you had time to be with your partners, your colleagues. Students have worked in a collaborative way. That's one of our goals, is one of for these activities. Of course, our project, since it's an Erasmus project, the idea is to have the mobilities, intercultural changes, and unfortunately, by doing like that in online events, that is more difficult. But nevertheless, so I hope that you have enjoyed it. So for today, let me okay, I'm here. Let me share my screen to show you for make a resume of the day. So we were over here. So we had during this morning we have the presence of Cristina Veiga Pires, the Centro Ciência Viva do Algarve director, and also a researcher of the Algarve University, and she came here talking about the climate change and the impacts in the Algarve coastline. And we saw that the impacts are not just in our coast in the Algarve, We have a part turned to the ocean and the other kind of mix between the Mediterranean Sea and the ocean. But the impacts are also and will happen in all coasts and in Mediterranean, and although in the north, in the North Sea, there's a different, she told us. Okay, so we have to become more conscious citizens, and to be alert for this, and so that we can't or not lose the good things that we have, especially the beaches in Portugal that are so great, so good, and that creates employment by the tourism. And so probably the prediction is to lose all that sand and beaches. And then we also invited, and then Miguel Rodriguez told us that the increase of temperature will make that the sea level rises, and is already been seen, and we already have proofs of it. And then we contacted Nicolas Blanc come here also from the University of Algarve, but from an ONG that wants to make awareness to everyone, every citizen, and especially the younger ones, to the extinction of biodiversity. Okay, everyone or a lot of people are thinking about how to make more money, and we had good to know that he already is not there, but there are a lot of people like him, United States president, that don't believe in climate change and also don't believe in scientists. And so there are other peoples around the world like that. And we were talking about the extinction of biodiversity, and the faster as it is. And after that, now we ended the water analysis workshop, was coordinated by students, secondary students, your colleagues. I think that it was a full program for this day. We are reaching the end. Just to say that tomorrow we will start later, because we will try, and we hope, and we'll make so that to do a field trip to Ria Formosa, especially to Fuzeta. And let's see how it works. Be patient with us, because it will be in the open field, and let's see if you have internet connection that works properly, and we can show you what we intend, what we prepared, and maybe at the end there's a virtual dive. If you have VR glasses, it will be time to use it. There are the cheaper ones and also more expensive, but it will be very nice to do these activities. And afterwards, nearly our lunch, probably some of you are lunching and others are already in the afternoon time. We will have our colleague talk about the European Blue Schools, that we are a national blue schools, but we want to be also an European blue school, and cultural service from one of our colleagues. And then, yes, we are reaching the end of these events, the online events. Tomorrow will be the farewell moment at the end of these activities. Yes, the end is near. Okay. So to you, thank you for being with us. I think that if someone wants to say something, now it's the time. Otherwise, just let me to say that a big thank you. Thank you for being with us. I hope that you learned something more, that you become more conscious about what we should do. And I think I will pick up that phrase that says, buy less, buy better. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ciao. Ciao a tutti.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
See you
you, thank you,
tomorrow.
thank you.
Bye bye.
¿Cómo salimos de aquí, profesora? Profesor, vaya bomba, mira.
Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. Very good job.
Thank you, thank you.
Have a nice day.
Now, yes, now we are going to
Okay.
prepare for tomorrow. I will send you
Thank you,
also
Manuel.
the details for tomorrow about the Zoom link and okay.
But you cheated in the